on the standard bans on red and go with Kalista.
Now they do have a lot more wiggle room here just because they are on blue side, and naturally Qiao Gu also have a much higher win on blue side than they do on red side, as majority of teams do, but for a long time Qiao Gu were actually undefeated on blue side. In fact, it was broken by LGT.
It was. A team that seemed to be on a hot streak right now.
Maybe that team's pretty good.
Not bad, certainly. Awaiting the finals for the winner of the game between, sorry, the match between these two is Kassadin actually going to get a ban out there as well. So a very targeted mid lane ban.
Doinb has an 85% win rate on Kassadin, and he plays an abundance of Kassadin games.
Play a lot of Kassadin. Is Yasuo going to get a ban there as well?
I think this tells me that they're going to ban. I would ban Azir here and pick Victor.
Well, we'll see if IG do want to do that. We do have...
Yasuo just got banned on purple side.
That's true. It might be something that Doinb doesn't play, but they certainly want to keep it away from Rookie.
Zzitai does play Ryze.
That's true as well. There's Victor banned out from IG.
Okay, so he wants to take.
Might.
I was close.
Yeah, might force the Ryze ban here, which would, like you mentioned, probably facilitate the first pick Azir. But it's Twisted Fate that actually gets the ban there.
Oh, they're trying to force him into picking between Azir and Ryze. And then they can just pick up Moakai Azir in second rotation.
Yeah.
And Moakai is such a good pick into Ryze. Not only, I mean, that said, it's not a great 1v1 matchup. It's going to give Ryze a free bypass through his lane phase, allow him to hyperscale. But come those late game team fights, Moakai means so much in denying a lot of damage that Ryze outputs.
And you can see just how much Qiao Gu respect Rookie as a player. That's twice now he's eaten those exact same 2 mid lane bans. And IG didn't make it much easier by banning Victor as well to take another mid laner out of the pool. But both these mids are very flexible. They have plenty of options later into the draft here as IG taking their time with their first pick, but they do settle on Ryze.
I would immediately rotate Moakai and Azir. I don't think you can give both Ryze and Azir to Invictus Gaming.
Don't have to take Moakai right now as well. They can probably suspect that they'll get it.
If you want to prioritize your support higher up, but I guess that makes sense since Alistar is also banned now. You're right.
Yep. We'll see what Qiao Gu want to do. They're hovering Braum at least right now. I do like the choice of Azir though. I think that would be a strong pickup, but might not be the case here for Qiao Gu. Again, a team that's very smart when it comes to drafting. Red side's been a lot shakier for them certainly, but it's not like they can't win on red side. That's for sure. As we do have the Braum lock in, they're going to consider their next pick now.
With this, I can only think that Rookie's going to go back onto his Azir unless he was really uncomfortable on it.
Maybe. I mean, one of those things where mentally Qiao Gu are like, maybe he won't take it. Maybe we'll get it later in the draft, as they do take Kog'Maw.
Well, it could also speak to, you know, with Victor, Twisted Fate, and Yasuo banned, you have to assume that Rookie's going to go towards the Azir, although right now he is flashing the Lulu. That's also another big pick for Invictus in particular. They really like their Lulu compositions. And Doinb has had some crazy picks to counter mid laners. You know, the Nautilus, the Moakai mid coming out.
He's always got an answer, does Doinb. As IG getting aggressive with these hovers at least, but they do have a Ryze. They don't have to worry too much about the late game, but just need to look and think, how do we get Zzitai into the best position to carry?
Lulu makes a lot of sense just because she's going to offer speed to Ryze and allow him to gap close and get on top of people so he can hit them with that 600 range snare.
You can see Rookie kind of flicking between a couple champions. Probably not Zillion, although would also have a speed up if you want to get technical. 2 seconds left. They lock in Annie. They lock in Lulu. Ryze online.
Okay, this makes sense. Again, Lulu is there for the Ryze. Works really well in speeding him up.
Yeah, and whatever AD carry they get, they also couldn't give it over to Qiao Gu because of the Kog'Maw. Seeing a lot of that too being split up constantly by different teams. And Qiao Gu now going to consider their 3rd and 4th pick. Moakai would be a shocker if they didn't pick it up.
I'm shocked that they're hovering Moakai.
Well, it's probably going to be V's champion. Like you mentioned, matchup can get a bit shaky.
I'm just curious what Doinb is going to grab. Will he take the Azir and create space for his Kog'Maw into that Lulu matchup? The thing about Lulu is she's one of the few champions that can actually outrange Azir if she uses her shield, places it on a back caster creep, and then shoots her glitter lance from there. Or if he's maybe going to have something up his sleeve and pull something special.
Never counter Doinb. That's certainly true
I want
here.
the Nautilus mid. I want the Moakai Nautilus
I don't know
team.
if the Nautilus is good against the Lulu strictly. Might be okay against the Ryze, but we're going to leave the mid lane till last year as Moakai is locked in, and Nidalee once more for Swift. We heard Rossi say it in the war room, ban the Nidalee, but it was not banned. In fact, it's picked quite late here for Qiao Gu.
KaKAO will get to prioritize his matchup into the Nidalee, however, and I really like this with Rek'Sai. So the power of Rek'Sai is obviously when she's in her burrowed form, has the tremor sense. She can see Swift coming and setting up. Likewise, it'll also empower Invictus Gaming to check into Fog of War on top of objectives, so hopefully they won't get picked off as often.
Yep, have to definitely keep Swift and the rest of Qiao Gu out of their jungle this time. See how well KaKAO can do here, as certainly was a pain in the side last time around. But IG trying to complete this team comp. They can't take Kog'Maw. I've seen some teams go to Jinx as almost like Kog'Maw #2 in some ways. It's not nearly as good, doesn't do quite the same things, but has similar sort of properties at least.
You know, you and I were talking about the differences and the similarities between Jinx and Kog'Maw. Now the thing is that Kog'Maw will have an initial power spike off the Trinity Force, and he technically is the hyperscaling. Oh, I guess they're both hyperscaling. Yep. But Jinx is the most efficient AD carry with the Trinity Force, just because she gets AoE crit damage off of her rockets. No other champion. I think Tristana is probably the second most effective with the Trinity Force, but she's now itemizing Blade of the Rune King more often than not.
Infinity Edge?
What did I say?
Trinity Force.
Oh yeah, Infinity Edge. Yeah, it's
yep,
the AoE
I know what
crit.
you meant. I know what you meant.
I'm just thinking the big yellow sword. No, it's the Infinity Edge for Jinx because she can get the AoE crit off of her rockets.
Jinx and Rek'Sai. Much like Trinity Force is efficient for Kog'Maw, as there is the Azir last pick for Doinb.
I was looking at Kid and I was like, it must be a Trinity Force user.
No, yeah, well, not this time. It's twice in a row now, actually, that he's played Auto Attack Reliant champions. And TNT is going to go back to Kog'Maw. Why not? A champion that seems like a lot of these carries don't want to give away.
Doinb on the Azir, though. Not that he can't play it, but I was hoping for something a little bit special.
Not today.
Not today.
Just a pick that makes sense here. Good with the rest of your team. Helps protect TNT.
Creating space. You got Moakai to create space in front of you. You have the Emperor's Divide for disengage. Braum will provide disengage as well as hard engage should you need it alongside that Twisted Advance. And more importantly, you have a secondary carry in Swift's hands.
Yep. So it's all good here for Qiao Gu as they line up another nice team comp for themselves. But IG, no slouches on the scaling end. Going to have Rookie enable a lot of the strength out of Ryze and Jinx in particular. And a bit more aggression there as well, especially coming out of Kitties. So something a bit different here for IG, something very similar, to be perfectly honest, for Qiao Gu. We'll go through our lineups now. Starting in the top lane, Zzitai Ryze versus V's Moakai.
The thing that I really like about IG's composition, though, is that, yes, they're waiting for the late game Jinx and Ryze to come online, but Jinx is so good at sieging towers when she has 5 points in her Q that they have some options if they don't want to team fight before that power spike.
There's KaKAO versus Swift again. Rek'Sai versus Nidalee this time, but Swift still on that Nid as Rookie gives up the Azir pick to take Lulu. A bit more of a team-oriented pick there, but should be just fine in the 1v1. And last but not least, bottom lane, lots of late-game long-range carries. Jinx versus Kog'Maw to kick things off.
And joining them down there will be your supports, Kitties versus TCT, and it's going to be, I believe, Annie. Who was the other one?
And
Braum.
Yep. Good stuff there. I like the engaged option here from Kitties. Not going to go for those disengaged options. Not so good into Braum, unfortunately. And Braum being such a popular support means that they've kind of dropped off a little. Poor John and Nami. Nami especially.
I still think John is incredibly powerful.
Yeah, well, not this game at least. Not going to see her, as we are going to get onto the rift for game number 2. And we're back as KaKAO takes to the rift for his team now in game number 2. Going to see if they can battle back in game 1 and get ourselves to effectively a best of 3. But Qiao Gu never wants to be defensive here at level 1. I'm going to go all out and spot Kid. Is that 5-man dissolve pretty quickly?
I actually really like the adaptation. So you've already won. You're 1 game up, still early in the series. Might as well try something frisky like a level 1 all-in invade.
Still going. Ward's down.
Braum.
Kitties gets tagged. Oh, does that need one more?
What?
Lockdown there as well. Kitties does not flash and he will die.
Pretty sure that's misclick, lag, team. Hello?
Any of the above.
He walked back into auto attack range. So naturally Braum is incredibly potent and powerful at level 1. He walks in with his Q, the concussive blows. We also had V pick up the Twisted Advance, so won't hurt his lane phase too bad because it is that big Moakai. He's going to a standard 1v1 against Ryze.
He also got the first blood, and that was the second Doran's ring going to what would otherwise be a bit of a tricky matchup.
Wow, that's really unfortunate for Zzitai.
Yes. And look, we've explained the Ryze to scale. V's certainly going to have some early to mid-game power. It's only going to be bolstered now.
That said, though, there's not a ton of kill pressure for Moakai on pretty much anyone without his jungler being available. Again, though, Moakai offers a free skill shot to Swift's Nidalee. I would expect him to gank the Ryze early. That's typically what we see out of teams to try to delay the timing windows for Ryze's optimization.
See Swift starting on the blue side of his jungle, so has the potential option here as KaKAO's actually starting on the same side as Swift. But over, of course, on Krugs to red buff. Doinb Going to get the quick level 2. They're shoving out those mini moves nice and early. And again, Azir will be good nice and early on, but Rookie probably not going to fall too far behind.
I mean, the big difference this game is KaKAO switching up his jungle pool, looking for that Rek'Sai, and Elise has actually been open. She was banned in the first game, but I think she was left open this time around, not going that direction. But Rek'Sai jungles so much quicker than a lot of other junglers, so not as susceptible as maybe his Gragas would have been.
Maybe. Rookie going to last hit under turret as Doinb is applying a nice amount of pressure. You can see the instant ping from Rookie. His lane is missing. Does know that Swift might be up to something, and KaKAO is full clearing his bottom side of the jungle, and Swift's right on top of his blue buff.
See, what I was saying and trying to set up for is that Rek'Sai is so quick at jungling that it's much harder to counter jungle her, but Swift doesn't care.
Guess who's quicker?
Nidalee.
Absolutely Nidalee. As Swift flies through his jungle and takes out KaKAO's blue. And KaKAO's going to get, like, well and truly 3-buffed at this point. In fact, Swift, taking a Scuttle Crab, might have been ganked before going to his red.
The power of standard lanes. When you have to consider IG for a lane swap to hide KaKAO and protect him, that just speaks to the power and the reputation that Swift has made for himself in the LPL.
Again, such an aggressive player. Does look top lane, but isn't going to find it. Instead, Doinb is going to keep farming up and back down the bottom side. Good block there from TCT.
The fight for red buff.
I don't think KaKAO's going to win this one. Doinb is pushing out his lane as well. KaKAO knows it. He's going to run away, but he's not happy about it.
No, and you're absolutely right. The big thing there was the fact that Doinb had control of the mid lane. So Azir would get there first before Lulu, which forces KaKAO back to his own jungle.
Instead, he'll be forced back to his Gromp. He'll take what he can here, of course, but Qiao Gu, upper buff here is just going to finish his clear. Upper kill, of course, in the top lane, and even up in CS in a few of their lanes here. So things going well early on as Rookie's actually going for quite an early back.
The thing that's actually more surprising to me is that Kid and Kitties are so far pushed in. I feel like it's some, what's the word I'm going to use? Post-PTSD from getting ganked so early. Jinx and Annie should have full control of this lane. You have a ranged champion versus a melee champion. Yes, Kitties didn't have his flash initially because he was the initial first blood, but Jinx has the AoE on the rockets. You have the Annie range. Braum levels 2 through 5 is actually fairly weak towards your lane phase, but I think that they're so terrified of Swift that they're just holding this lane back, waiting for Annie to get her flash back up, which she has it now, but he's not pushing at all.
No. And look, TNT is going to hang out, get his CS where they can, as Rookie does return with a bunch of consumables and a second Doran's ring. And Doinb's gone back as well. He'll match the timing and get himself a chalice. So pretty standard stuff here as far as itemization goes, but Swift is already back with the same buy as last game. Quick Trailblazer and an Amplifying Tome.
Looking for that ring glaive and also slipping in. No, never mind. Changing his mind. Guess it was right for Kid and Kitties to be scared. I'm looking at that like, why are Jinx and Annie so far into their own tower? I know that she doesn't have flash, but oh right, they're against Swift. Yeah. They're probably terrified.
And that's a big testament to, again, how Swift likes to play League and how much presence he has as a jungler. We do see Rookie, nice little geometry there.
But yeah, that's what we were talking about. You know, she places the E onto a back caster creep and then just tags Azir with Glitter Lance and stays at a Sand Soldier range. So good job, Rookie.
Seems to be one of the common weaknesses.
Thanks for demonstrating that for
of Azir is poke style champions. Lulu can fulfill a bit of that, but Swift is again aggressively moving down. Rookie barely misses getting tagged by a spear, but Doinb is more than happy to get the damage in.
And more importantly, he loses his pink ward. That's a devastating thing to happen.
Again, Swift is one of those players where you place those relatively shallow pink wards like far forward towards the river to get that vision. Swift will be constantly hopping in there checking. He is really good at just keeping tabs on what you're doing. KaKAO, he's trying to keep away. He's going to take his jungle while Swift is on the other side.
Doing a much better job keeping up and farm with Swift and kind of avoiding him, but you're absolutely correct. Nidalee, especially Swift, is unlocked just because Doinb this time around, you know, they knew that the Azir-Lulu matchups were going to come up. By giving him Azir, though, he has full control over the initial part of this lane phase, constantly keeping Rookie shoved in.
Oh, not going to get it. Oh, KaKAO's actually tagged. Swift's going to get the kill. Probably wish the Krog had taken it instead.
Wow.
That was hilarious.
That's really unfortunate, though. KaKAO, yep, gives up secondary blood. That's going to be an easy sheen for Swift should he choose to back, but more importantly, this is going to time right on the second rotation of buffs.
What are the chances that as soon as you kill the Krug?
Well, he saw the trap go down, so you knew as soon as the Krug went down and he sees the trap, he's like, there's a Nidalee there.
Well, Swift managed to get the kill. Just wanted the buff, more than happy to get KaKAO instead, and now he's going to continue taking that jungle.
They can't dive. too low. It's too low and to be crazy.
Don't you tell Swift that.
He's crazy. He's not that crazy.
We'll see. We'll see. As he is going to go back at least now. And get himself the Sheen. Possibly the Runeglaive. Nope, he tricked me. Actually staying out in the jungle.
I think he just saw the wolf camp.
There we go. Good timing actually from Swift. Must be keeping track of those. I would too if I was playing Nidalee at this level. And now Swift's going to go back with the extra bit of gold that he so gleefully took away from KaKAO.
And he immediately pings out KaKAO. They know exactly where he is.
Can't stop it, unfortunately, but Rookie's going to back away. That'll give Doinb a bit more space as the Chalice of Harmony's out for Rookie now as well. The Runeglaive also completed for Swift. Means that Qiao Gu, 8 minutes in, have plenty of power once again coming from their jungler.
Should also point out the Zzitai on this Ryze. It is 8 minutes in. He has not made a single back, which means he doesn't have the tier. And it is so crucial to get that tier around the 5-minute, 6-minute window to allow it enough time to stack up. So this is a massive delay in Ryze's power spike.
I'll just tell you as well, but maybe farming up for 2 different components. We'll find out soon as Zzitai might be motioning back towards the shop as Kitties in the bottom lane. Eats a Q there out from TCT, but bottom lane's been fairly quiet. Just a lot of farming as Rookie can get his first blue buff in a while here.
How early he has to rotate over to the blue buff just to help KaKAO secure it.
And now pings on to Dragon for Qiao Gu. They know the blue buff's been taken. They've got plenty of control. Good damage as well between these two and a really smart bit of timing from QG.
Yeah, and it's just recognizing that Rookie left from lane to go pick up the blue buff so they know that KaKAO and Lulu are both on the top side of the map. And it just opens up the numbers advantage to take this Dragon for one.
Smartness as well, I think, from Swift. So definitely have the timing down pat there as Dragon number 1 will go to Qiao Gu. And they'll again start a game with a lead. 1,000 gold up as a sweep comes down. This is quite the gank they're lining up.
They want them to face check into the river to check for the Dragon, but what they don't realize is the back of the pit is warded.
KaKAO saw them as well.
Yeah, so they knew that the Dragon was already done. There was no reason to face check into the river, but it's Qiao Gu saying, okay, they're going to suspect that we're on Dragon. They're going to come try to stop us or peek in, and we're just going to murder them.
Well, not this time, as IG do have the vision to make sure that doesn't happen, but Doinb also getting pushed in a bit more now as well. Rookie starting to again use that glitter lance poke to annoy Doinb if nothing else. But a lot of farming other than that across all these lanes. As we do have the first pack from Kid, it's a BF sword and an early Avarice Blade here.
No surprises, you know, picking up the Avarice as opposed to looking for more damage or possibly using the boots, knowing that since Dragon is down, that for the next 6 minutes you're going to have a window to continue to farm, especially on this Jinx.
Surprisingly decent landing items as well, especially if you start fishing in rockets for those crits. And you, like you mentioned before, IE in rockets works well, so a bit of extra crit does help as well, even though it's not quite the Oh, Doinb. Hello. Getting nice and aggressive.
He's trying to bait out the flash. I think he was looking to try to bait the flash into the Azir sec to push him into tower. Try to beat him with the Whimsy.
Not this time at least, as IG down the bottom lane. Gonna get nice damage here onto this turret. Kid with the BF sword and the minigun. Able to knock those down, but Phage and Sheen up for TNT now as the AD carries have gone back and we haven't had too much action apart from the level 1. But things are starting to heat up here. 1 Dragon up for Qiao Gu, and they do seem to have some control.
Okay, here we go though. KaKAO finally on the top side.
Oh, very nice flash. Twisted advance, gonna avoid the knock-up, and V made it look very easy.
Did get the escape summoner though, so not a failed gank, just not quite what they were looking for. Ryze. 11 minutes into the game.
Still hasn't gone back.
Still doesn't have tier.
Zzitai is on some sort of mission here. Maybe there's an achievement he's trying to unlock that I'm not aware of. But
just going to go back and fully buy a Rod of Ages. He's not even going to
maybe like
spend time on the tier at this point.
To be honest, I wouldn't be that surprised given how long he stayed there. Clearly favoring his farm at least in the early parts. TNT and TCT will clear out that pick point.
But it's like you wouldn't even be punished by sacrificing your teleport at this point just because Qiao Gu already got control of the Dragon Pit. So as soon as you saw that go down, why not just burn the TP to try to get your core items up and running?
I don't know. Maybe Zzitai wants to TP in for kills. That seems more like his style at least. So we'll have to find out later as Swift takes out the Scuttlecraft. And again, you can see the power of this Nidalee clears the jungles ever so quickly with Runeglaive.
Okay, so there we go.
Wow, that's
he
pretty
immediately
insane.
picks up a Rod of Ages before the 12-minute mark. So that item is perfectly on time. He does also have another Mana Crystal. Curious if he's going to translate that to a tier later on down the road. But the first big core item for Ryze is out.
And he's walking back as well, so he does want to save that TP. Clearly favoured having the summoner to make some sort of play, but V is going to get free time now, and he'll go back, have his teleport, or he'll be able to walk back if he wants to. So where he's going for the early items, he goes straight Righteous Glory. There's been a lot of farming happening in that top lane.
But who does this benefit more? Does it benefit Qiao Gu or Invictus Gaming? I have to actually kind of go to Qiao Gu just because they have kind of the secondary or multiple damage threats against IG. You are waiting for Jinx and Ryze to come online, and those will be massive threats, but Moakai is an option to delay a lot of that damage or negate it. It's just...
Yeah, right now it certainly favors Qiao Gu, and that may also be the case when Dragon number 2 rolls around. So
the other big thing is the CS discrepancies, again, are starting to open up in these lanes. It's not as massive as it was last game, but particularly in that jungle, 10 CS is pretty big when it's all jungle camps.
Certainly here is Swift. I think he's trying to take the Scudder Crab out there just off the top left of your screen. Gets a pink blood for his trouble as well. Knows that the Blues are coming back up, wants to get the vision down. And he's going to be building into that Rod of Ages once more here. Swift having another great start to a game.
The classic 13-minute, 17-second tier.
You know, it's going to be a little late for Zzitai, but I guess he's going to be matched by some of the Rod of Ages.
I mean, IG are looking way late game at this point. And do you want a game to come down to a single team fight against someone like Qiao Gu?
I don't know. IG have proved they could do it against Vici, so maybe they do. As we do have a Dragon up in a minute 15. Qiao Gu, like you mentioned, continue to press that aggression, and those towers are starting to get low. Swift is stealing buffs. And in general, IG struggling to get a bit of a foothold here in this game. It's been Qiao Gu all series long so far. Let's see if that second Dragon fight can turn that around for them.
Question will be, will IG actually posture for it? So core itemization, you do have completed boots up from Kit. That actually kind of tells me that he wants to rotate around and siege towers, especially as this bottom tier 1 is just waiting for a stiff breeze to come by and knock it down.
I'm going to steal this away. Rookie does get it. That's a nice pickup from Invictus Gaming.
Especially denying the 44-second Dragon.
Good now in the bottom lane. Rocket some things down. He's got Berserker Grip finished also, so again, a lot more neutral objective oriented, whether that be a Dragon or a tower. But TNT might be close-ish to that Trinity Force as well. Doesn't have time to go back right now. Qiao Gu in general haven't quite spent the next round of money as TCT does get stunned out there by Annie. The Chomper's down as well, but he'll pop up the Unbreakable. Kid will get tagged, and IG will back away.
Lucky for them, because KaKAO are in the back of the lane, so Qiao Gu, should they choose to come in on this, it would be an easy pick for IG, which they could then translate to the Dragon. But again, the big thing is that Lulu has the blue buff, and Doinb does not have the mana regen necessary for this upcoming fight.
Oh, now top lane, they're going to go in for Zzitai. Qiao Gu going to dive straight in there. V's going to take the tower up. Zzitai has absolutely no hope as Swift gets himself the kill.
Good tower aggro. That said, will IG pull the trigger on this Dragon, since multiple resources of Qiao Gu are in the top lane?
KaKAO's going to clear the pink ward away. They'll get the tower instead. They'll run away to that Dragon. So IG going to get themselves a nice influx of gold. And Doinb can't move down. Swift is too far away, and V has a teleport. But I don't know if they fancy themselves a 4v5 this time.
Okay, so Invictus Gaming will take 2 objectives off of this. The tower traded for the top one, but as well as the Dragon. So still going to go in favor there. They did manage to kill the Ryze, but it didn't really put him behind or down because he had that 12-minute Rod of Ages. Yeah,
it just sort of opened up space at least and got them a tower. So see what Qiao Gu can do with the rest of the outer towers here. It's only one apiece. And equal on Dragons as well. So very early days for both these teams. And again, it's a bit more passive here, but the teams are just farming up. It's a lot to do with, for me, these mid laners. Doinb is just farming up as much as he can. Hasn't even gone back to get his next major item. It's probably some sort of Nidalee large rod base.
Yeah, and it's where the initial power spikes are for both these teams. You know, with carries like Kog'Maw, Jinx, and Ryze, you don't mind waiting for that late game power spike, likewise Azir. But for Swift, you know, he needs to find the snowball on this Nidalee. He does have a sizable, well, it was a sizable farm lead as it glanced back down to it. It's 73 to 78, so still not quite where he wants to be for Nidalee. See if he's going to be as massive a carry threat, especially as IG are just posturing better around the map and taking 3 objectives.
You have to be careful here, but IG, plenty of people around. Kitties eats a spear. Let's see what Qiao Gu wants to be doing with their team comp, but they'll defend that turret. The Trinity Force is up for TNT. Doinb has himself the makings of his next major item as well, including that Nidalee large rod. And I think we're going to have Qiao Gu rotate and try and take some more towers.
Yeah, and Doinb not going the Nashor's build, instead looking for the Athene, so picking up a lot of MR since he's looking across from an Annie, Lulu, and Ryze.
So the big sensible choices. Kitties gets tagged, and that spear plus the ulti is enough to kill him. My god, that was a lot of poke damage.
Just the reach. And this is the power of Nidalee. Anytime she's pushing on you with the siege, and this is a siege comp, it does create a lot of space to protect this Kog'Maw and be a good 5v5, but Azir, Nidalee, and Kog'Maw are so good at shredding down towers.
Certainly are, and that's where Qiao Gu gonna look to get more of their lead in this game as KaKAO has to tunnel out of his own jungle. V is pushing in the top lane as well, and Qiao Gu up a turret, looking to even press in onto the tier 2 mid as well.
At this point, IG just need a hard engage factor. They need the Annie to step forward and pull the trigger, or they're going to lose more towers.
Well, Kitties got killed last time he tried it. He's far too far back now to try that as well. And Qiao Gu will get a second tower here and retreat back to Azir's Sun turret.
Just taking second tier mid at 18 minutes in the game is massive. It opens up so much space and control for Qiao Gu, and they have their pick of the litter where they want to go next. I suspect it'll be bot lane for that last scanning outer.
You have some backs happening now as V has the distortion boots and gets a Spectre's Cow, so he's going to get stronger. Vampiric Scepter up for Kog as well, as TNT going to move towards that Blade of the REUP King. And a bit more farming from Doinb and Swift, the carriers of the team, as they'll get further ahead and closer to their next item. It's actually CDR boots once more for Swift with a bit of extra AP from the Ant too.
So TNT and TCT are being delegated towards the top lane. There's no standing outer, so this is just to soak up farm. Yeah, they're just splitting up, sending their teleport across map. There's no dragon timer, so they do have a window of opportunity where they can stand more members on the top side of the map without giving up an extra objective.
Makes sense. You see Swift and Doinb even sticking on this
side
of the jungle.
I think they have the blue timer, and that's what they're trying to challenge for.
Maybe. So do see Qiao Gu getting those aggressive wards in straight onto the blue. The wards are out. KaKAO popped in too, but Swift's going to get it. I think this might win over. No, it was Swift that gets it, and Doinb's going to zone him away.
And we've seen, you know, Swift having the perfect timer on something as small as the Direwolf camp, but on the blue, rotating his bot lane to have more control on the top side of the map to continue to deny KaKAO at every single turn.
You can see KaKAO has used the tunnel system to get over to this side of the map quite quickly. He's trying to deny this blue away from Doinb, but I don't think it's going to work for him. He'll ride in for it, he'll get spotted, but Doinb is going to get it, and RG will lose both buffs this time.
The fact that Nidalee is outmaneuvering Rek'Sai, having that neural network of tunnels is, I mean, it's expected, but why didn't you ban Nidalee? Are you going to take it away? Are you going to continue to allow Swift to run KaKAO around the jungle? And it's not like KaKAO is just a nobody. He's a, I'm not going to say world-class jungler since he hasn't performed at the world stage, but definitely a power pick.
An excellent jungler to be sure, as V finds the tie with a teleport. They're going to go all in for this Ryze. TNT's going to pop the Bio Arcane Barrage. Rookie's there with the ultimate, but it's not nearly enough as the ult's going to tag Lulu now. Kitties trying to fend them off with a stun. He's going to look for the bed, does find it under TCT, but V's going to dive his way back in. There's another kill going to be coming down, and Swift can now just try and poke people off this turret as IG are defending, but Swift, he really wants some people dead.
KaKAO doing his best sidestep there, but Swift has gotten onto the side of the tower, so fish in a barrel.
Oh my god, they're going for Baron.
Oh.
So aggressive from Qiao Gu, but so smart. And Swift is trying to fight two away. He actually needs to be at the Baron for the take as he gets the bear down. Awards there. Now IG know what's wrong, but I don't know if they can stop it. Kid and Kitties have to make a huge play here, but the damage is good. Kitties is going to jump his way in. The port's down. Doinb's going to kick them out with the ultimate from Azir. Kitties will die. Swift gets the Baron. Kid's far too low as TNT flashes for the kill. He will get it. The tie will die as well. And Qiao Gu get the Baron and 3 clean kills.
And a 1-2 punch Qiao Gu with a very early Baron just decimate Invictus Gaming and open up this gold lead to 7K. What a beautiful inverse divide from Rookie just to completely close off the pit.
Yeah, Doinb with the Rylance as well. Plenty of extra utility here in those fights. And Qiao Gu making Game 2 look an awful lot like Game 1 for Oscurin.
Yeah, a little bit slower pace. It didn't quite snowball as effectively, but again, we talked about this. There's no problem for them to wait and elongate the lane phase, look towards that late game. They have Azir, they have Kog'Maw. They can meet Ryze and Jinx at 40 minutes. And do you want to be looking down Qiao Gu if this game comes to a single team fight?
Well, right now, Qiao Gu have plenty of momentum and quite a lead in this game, so they don't have to worry about that for a little while longer. IG do have to worry that this game has gotten out of control already now. At almost 8,000 gold ahead. IG are going to try and contest with this dragon, but I don't know if that's the right idea.
At this point, they just need to wait for Ryze and Jinx to come online. You're looking for 3 items out of Jinx. She has the Infinity Edge complete. Now you're looking for the Static Shiv and then the armor penetration from the Last Whisper. And for the time-based power spikes for Ryze, we had a very delayed tier, but a very early Rod of Ages. just need probably 10 to 15 minutes before IG can get a foot back into it.
Well, right now, Qiao Gu is going to continue on the rampage. They go up 8,500 gold now, and they're not stopping. They've got Baron buff up for just under 50% of its duration. And like you mentioned already, especially when ahead, their siege is really good.
Constantly, you're just going to see Swift postured off to the side, throwing out those spears from Fog and War, so they're harder to see, harder to dodge.
Zzitai is pushing, by the way, and he doesn't have his teleport.
The split push Ryze, always a threat.
Trapped a bit there in the top lane, does get the tower, but Qiao Gu might just get in for this. V's actually going to dive in. This tower's already dead. Zzitai, a little too much time there in the top lane, and Swift and friends break the base.
He may end up trading a first-tier outer for the inhibitor. That said, IG trying to hold them here.
Bear down there for Kitties. Doinb going to ride in onto KaKAO. Looking for something here as Rookie's taking a massive amount of damage. Swift will dive back in. He'll get the kill. The knockups are there, but the damage from Doinb is far too much. And they're just cleaning house as Zzitai. The only member of IG left alive will fall down as Qiao Gu get themselves an ace.
And they have a massive minion wave. 2 cannon creeps as well as the Kog'Maw behind them. IG may have just traded 2 members of Qiao Gu for the game.
They may just have, but the first Nexus turret will fall. The second does not look particularly healthy as Doinb surfs out of the way. KaKAO is up in 10 seconds. Qiao Gu may have enough to get this Nexus. They will. And in under 24 minutes, Qiao Gu are going to go up in game 2 and 2-0 in the series.
And it started out fairly stalled, a little bit slower pace, but immediately Qiao Gu just explode. Once they have the edge, they recognize that, they force you to teamfight them. Getting that pick, transitioning it into a 21-minute Baron, and then swiftly ending the game.
The game ended 2.5 minutes after that Baron was taken, if it was at 21 minutes. That is absurd.
It was like 20 minutes, 30 seconds.
Well, still fine. 3 minutes after, which is still very impressive. Pretty much used the whole duration of the Baron, and the game ended within the buff here. Really impressive stuff from Qiao Gu. We mentioned Nidalee in game number 1. Might not have seemed like as much of a problem until maybe 15 minutes in, but it became one very quickly.
It's just the I honestly think that the biggest thing is the standard lane phase. You can't allow Swift just to run the map, to set the pace of it, especially against someone like KaKAO, OG and title holder. He's a fantastic jungler, but for whatever reason, Swift is just working him around this map.
It's that nitpick especially, and everything is going according to plan here for Qiao Gu. Bottom lane's doing fine, getting their kills where they need them. Doinb is just farming up on Azir in this game. Victor in the last one. You know, V's in the top lane, having a fun time, getting a bit of help where he needs it for the Ryze matchup, and getting strong as Moakai. And then there's Swift, who's just wrecking faces all day long. And that was honestly objective control more than anything else. He wasn't even ganking that time. Not nearly as much as the last game.
No, completely agree. Got the early, yeah, they got the early dragon. They traded second one because they decided to gank the Ryze top lane. Zzitai, you know, he switched it up. He got into a carry-oriented jungler, picking up that Ryze pick. You know that he wants to win his lane, that he wants to be that active carry, but IG, they just look passive in every single lane, and they're just passively losing. And their CS discrepancies and their team fighting, they need to change it up. Otherwise, it's going to be a clean 3-0. It
certainly is here. Qiao Gu looking nice and aggressive here. This is the way they like to play. Again, it's been all by the book for them, but IG found themselves in this spot last time. But let's get a little bit more on that game once again from Say.